So as LeBron James continues to go through the latter part of his career and begins to make his exit from the league, a lot of his plants that were sprinkled throughout the media have begun to backtrack on the GOAT conversations, knowing that the conversation is becoming less and less relevant. And just taking a step back, ever since LeBron James had lifted the Cavaliers to a 2016 championship over the Warriors, a lot of media members latched themselves onto him, understanding the economy that was about to be built around LeBron and possibly being the GOAT. Remember, at the time, Kevin Durant did not join the Warriors yet. Things were definitely lined up for LeBron to perhaps get 3 to 4 more championships. And just like the days when Michael Jordan had his reign, a lot of media members who were around and attached themselves to him, like Skip Bayless, Michael Wilbon, Sam Smith, who wrote the Jordan Rules, and many others, they all understood that there was always going to be an economy to hear their stories, whether they write books or make guest appearances on shows. So the same thing has played out during LeBron's time in the NBA, but unfortunately for his plants in the media, there will be no cash out besides the first take debate culture that took place while he was in the league. And in this segment, we'll hear from one of his apologists in the media, one of his many plants that was sprinkled in that always ruled things in favor of him being the GOAT, now backtracking. You guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
LeBron wasn't willing, and this is what killed it, according to John Hollinger. He wasn't willing to leave $52 million on the table for a mid-level exemption. So don't think about that. LeBron's a billionaire. He's a billionaire. And my take is with LeBron, Rich Paul told us it was all about winning. It's not anymore.
It hasn't been about winning for a while. Ever since he arrived to LA, it's been about brand building. You see that billionaire status Cowherd just mentioned? A lot of it was built through the connections that he made while he's down there in LA. It's not ironic that TNT's parent company, Warner Brothers, had helped funded LeBron James's media company, in which he has launched multiple podcasts and different shows. And the move to LA has been very lucrative for LeBron James, and even his celebrity, not necessarily him as a basketball player, but the celebrity of LeBron James has even reached a higher point than it did even after winning the championship in Cleveland. So this move has been about brand building ever since he's arrived in LA.
I think Michael Jordan's still in his head. He knows in the basketball community with basketball fans, he's never going to catch MJ. MJ is 6 for 6. MJ is more memorable. MJ's got the logo, the brand, and sells more shoes. He's more romanticized. Michael Jordan, there are a dozen plays to this day that you close your eyes and think about, and you can see Michael Jordan.
Now for LeBron, I'm going to shoot him some bail here. In an era of social media, the mystique factor is going to be very, very hard to pull off. And also, LeBron's greatness is really off the court and the way he has handled the business side of the game, making Maverick Carter and Rich Paul almost business extensions of himself. See, NBA players before LeBron James, they used to come in, cash a bunch of checks, go to the club, mess with some thotties, and they had a whole entourage, and that was it. And then eventually you hear them being broke. But LeBron James came into the league with a king mindset. He leveraged his Nike deal to make sure that Rich Paul was in a position where he could learn about the business side of sports. He even got a gig working alongside Leon Rose, LeBron's agent at the time, and he learned the business side of being an agent. And eventually we see them now with Clutch Sports. We see Maverick Carter running the media side of the business. LeBron James is putting on a master class on how to set things up for not only himself, but his friends and even his family members, as we see his son getting into the league and also getting paid guaranteed money. LeBron James understands him standing alone as a financial entity won't really make a lot of sense, because eventually one person doing it all on his own is really a house built on shaky ground. So that's LeBron's GOATness, which supersedes anything that any player could ever do on the court.
Do it unless you're driving. With LeBron, there's one. That chase down block against the Warriors. That's it. And so I think at LeBron at this point, he's never going to catch him. He's never going to catch him in net worth. MJ's net worth is $3.5 billion. LeBron, even with the massive money he's paid, is $1 billion.
Now, kudos to LeBron. He is younger, and he has a lot more tools in his arsenal due to the landscape overall around the world, especially with the NBA trying to go global, and also with the power of social media being able to become his own entity and broadcast himself. LeBron post-retirement, do not be shocked, because we're definitely going to continue to hear his name. Do not be shocked if he branches out and begins to form his own league. There's a lot of sovereign money in the Middle East, and they're looking to rebrand their region. Countries like Qatar did it in the World Cup in 2022 and successfully pulled it off. And they're looking for major figures who have a lot of cultural pull, like LeBron James does at this very moment. You mix that in with all the cash that they have and also streaming. This could create a whole new monster that we've never seen before. And Michael Jordan did not have these tools at his arsenal when he first retired with all that cultural capital. We sort of watched all that relevance that he had as soon as he retired in '98 just kind of go by the wayside. Even though he still remembered, but there just wasn't a way for him to cash in with all that relevance in the same way that LeBron James can do right now with streaming, with sports leagues trying to go global, and with certain countries in the Middle East trying to rebrand themselves, and is willing to throw a ton of money and formulate their own leagues using major cultural figures. Magic Johnson tried to pull this off in the early 90s when he went to Sweden. Then he ended up owning a team, but then we never heard of it again. I'm assuming phone calls were made, and right now he's still an ambassador of the NBA. So LeBron James has a lot more tools in his belt that he can use today that Michael Jordan would dream of back then in '98.
That's why he wants to own a basketball team. I think he's chasing Michael. And here's the difference.
That right there is the only flaw about LeBron James's career. Doing Space Jam 2, always kind of making it seem he's chasing Michael Jordan's ghost. LeBron James is his own man. He should have always branded it that he's just being him. Because once again, what he might end up getting into post-retirement is going to supersede anything any NBA player could ever do on the court. Do not be shocked if you hear that he's a multi-billionaire and he's part owner of a league that's making noise and eating up some of the NBA's market share. The sovereign money in the Middle East have very deep pockets that the NBA could only dream of. And this could create a dynamic where we see NBA players in their early 30s getting large contracts to go elsewhere, sort of like the ABA came in and ate up some of the NBA's market share back in the 70s.
Michael Jordan makes you feel something, and LeBron doesn't. MJ, and I mean, high-level salespeople will tell you, you want to trigger emotion in advertisers and consumers. You want to make people feel something about a product. Michael has that. You wear his shoes, you feel cool. You like being on that side of the argument. So Michael's richer, more memorable, bigger brand, and he makes you feel something. And LeBron doesn't. LeBron has kind of bounced around to the best basketball opportunity every chance he gets. He's been the great basketball opportunist. And I've never criticized him for that. I understand it.
As he should. He woke up all the NBA players to the reality of what exactly this league is. Do what you have to do, what's best for you and your family to secure your future. There's no reason why over 60% of NBA players, just a few years being out of the league, are filing for bankruptcy or are broke. Makes no sense. Once again, LeBron James, he may change the standard of what it means to be the figurehead of a league, and by the time you retire, you should be in position to either own a team, be part owner of a league, or even be part owner of a stadium, or even own a stadium to that degree. We see major cultural sports figures like Lionel Messi come to the United States to be part owner of the MLS. That's really his deal. Long gone are the days where you're like a Pele, you're a Michael Jordan, you're a global figure like Maradona out in Argentina, and you're retiring, but you don't own anything. That should no longer be the case, especially for the money you generated all those years.
His first stop, he got drafted to Cleveland. 7 years in, they couldn't get him another All-Star. I was on the bandwagon, get to Miami. But my take is you probably should have stayed in Miami. In fact, I'd argue the only time LeBron has ever made us feel something was when he went back to his hometown. When he went back to Akron and he won in Cleveland. Remember that letter, I'm going back home? Made you feel something. Then he won in Cleveland. Made you feel something. But he's sort of been the great basketball opportunists. And he's got more points and more assists, and he's been to more finals, but he's never made us feel anything.
Now, Cowherd is speaking from a basketball storyline standpoint. LeBron's is not going to be as great as his predecessors as far as the on-court story, but the overall inspiration from where he comes from to how he set himself up, that already has been proven to have more impact as we see all the players of today. Guys have their own media companies. Guys are taking control of where they play. They kind of see themselves as entities now, more so than the players that came before them. But Michael Jordan was a whole other thing. He was a product of his time. Most people internationally did not see Michael Jordan until the Barcelona games. That's why that was such a big deal. In today's terms, it would be hard to duplicate that because of social media. Everyone is accessible. So that's why the comparisons will never ever add up. When Michael Jordan would leave the court, the media side of his life, the cameras would cut off. Fans would have no idea what happened behind the scenes. But today, anybody could just pull up a phone and go live. From the security guard to the trainer to the team doctor in the locker room. So all this adds on to that Michael Jordan aura, and LeBron James could really never duplicate it because him and Michael Jordan have two completely different personalities. When it comes to the greatest of all times, it's an imaginary conversation, which is always good to have, but you really can't compare eras because the further back you go, the more restrictive the rules get. But there's a few things that great players should always be judged on. That's winning, and also how other greats talk about you. And for LeBron James, when it comes to this GOAT conversation, the only knock he has is that other greats that played in his era do not necessarily have stories where they at some point couldn't get over on him. To the same degree, other greats in Jordan's era could not get past him. Just right here, listen to Reggie Miller and Vernon Maxwell, one NBA champion with the Houston Rockets. And of course, we all know what Reggie Miller is. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a major shit talker. And just listen to the way they talk about Michael Jordan. I'm not sure if LeBron James presents the same aura to his peers of his own era.
45 on us. Not that he wouldn't have scored 45 with me in the game, but shit, give me a chance in our building.
MJ threw 3 punches on the road and didn't get kicked out the game. That's crazy.
The next day, I got a 1-game suspension.
You got kicked out and a game suspension.
And he got 3 games. So why did he get 3 games then?
Right.
And
but
it wasn't
still
kicked
got to
out.
Stay in the game. Wow.
So they let him play the game, dissuspended him 3 games?
And then suspended him.
And that's how they did me at the San Francisco Pro-Am.
Come on, man. Because Mike's in town.
That's Mike, man. I thought you come to your town, all the bitches got
Hey,
their
Mac
jerseys
said
on.
when Mike came to Houston, all his women started wearing
Here's the
MJ
thing. Yeah,
jerseys.
here's the thing, man. You would see these. You would see. You know, you go out to a club or whatever, bar or whatever, and you see these same chicks, real regular. You come to a Bulls game. It's like, why are you dressed like it's Sunday church, man?
I'm saying, I told y'all about this.
Like,
Mike come in your city, them
cracking.
bitches coming out right.
man.
They thinking they finna get married or hit. One of them think they're gonna get hit by Mike. Mike ain't thinking about that. Mike coming out.
Of my whole career, one thing I wish or regret, and people will say, I wish I would have had more than one series versus that dude.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying I would have won. We would have won. Probably not. But you're judged by,
Those big wins.
I won a few battles.
Man, that's right.
He always won the wars. He's got 6 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And we took him 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish we'd have had more. I wish I could have gone against him more.
He had a lot
Again, and I don't want people jumping on the internet. I'm not saying we would have beat them.
Just wanted
It
the
probably would
smoke.
have been the same thing.
Just wanted that smoke.
But man, I want to see.
Show
I
me.
got confidence. I want to see how I am versus that dude.
I'm going to do my thing, too.
I want to see how I am versus that dude. I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for Max. There was no weaknesses. Try to force him left. You try to force him right. You try to top lock him. You try to hold. You try to be physical with him. I equate it to like this. it was like, and maybe this is how centers feel when they were going against Shaq. He was Shaq of shooting guards. I don't care. There was no way you could get around him in front of him. He was just too strong. And
As a matter of fact, some of you fellas could look it up. There were seasons where Michael Jordan averaged 35 points per game, and I believe he had 100 steals and 100 blocks. He was like one of the top players with steals and blocks, like multiple seasons. I mean, if you want to see the footage, you could just look at the Knicks playoff series, him and Scottie Pippen. You would swear there were two power forwards the way they were tossing guys around.
And then he had a 48-inch vertical. So you were never blocking his shot.
I got a 50. Shit.
And he could stop on a dime, his handles, and then he held the ball like it was like an orange. So he's taunting you, holding the ball on your face, the tongue is all out and shit. And
look at that, the real Reggie Miller's coming out. Reggie's not really dick riding him or anything like that. He's not really jacking his style or anything. He's just admitting the truth. Like, yo, I'm nice, but fuck. He's nice, like, he's even better. Gotta give that man his props.
chewing the fucking gum and all that shit. And then he come down, and the black eyes are looking at you, and I'm looking right back at him. Yeah, motherfucker, I ain't going anywhere.
Yeah.
And he's looking at you, and man, no weaknesses, none, zero. I could look. I love tail. I'm watching. I'm always trying to find a tail, and I found a tail on everyone.
Not him.
I could not find a tail, not one.
Damn.
Like, okay, if he goes left X amount of times, what is his percentages? Great, right, great. Step back, great,
Greater.
great. Rebounding, great. Passing, great. You can't punk him. I'm trying to find something. So it's almost like shit by committee. Derek McKee.
Come on.
I mean,
We got to get some help down this motherfucker. Come on now, don't be here. I've been calling
I ain't too
motherfucker.
proud
Hey,
to
come on.
beg.
Come on now, this motherfucker.
I ain't
you
too
call.
proud to beg.
That's what I'm
man.
trying
The
to tell
toughest
you.
shot in basketball, which is the fadeaway, he shot that shit
I mean-
at a high clip. That's the toughest shot
And
in
you
basketball.
cannot
Get
block
to
it. You can't
But
get
see-
it.
but see,
it's faded away and it's at 48 inches.
Yeah, when he got to learn how to put his back to the basket and get in that post, that's when he got
And
really,
then
it got crazy.
he would do the
He get-
Elijah one.
Yeah, he get
He get
the
that.
shimmy
So
shake shit on you.
He
Oh,
gets you
Lord.
leaning.
Oh my goodness.
And him
Yo, to see Vernon Maxwell talk like that, Vernon Maxwell is one of the biggest shit talkers in the NBA. This guy used to get into a ton of fights, man. These are not the kind of players, him and Reggie Miller, to be bigging up another player like that. So once again, are there any ego-driven great players of LeBron James's era that can just talk about him to this degree?
and maybe Max can attest to this. Pick and rolls. Don't let your big be one step too. He's splitting. And then
Look out.
now it's up to Dale and Antonio. Good
Look out
luck.
below.
Good luck.
Hey, now he's your problem
Good
now.
luck. Good luck.
Somebody finna get banged on.
He's out of my
he's your
airspace.
problem now if he splits. But then when you would extend him to half court, he would get this shoulder
Down and
or
go
this
around.
shoulder, which way he was coming off, and get under the big, and then it's downhill. So now, if you're trailing, as shooting guards are, you got to get under, and then and on top of that, he can shoot. He can shoot.
They talked about it. I've seen a lot of videos about his athleticism, but I seen the video recently when he got a tip ball and they passed to him. He went up on vertical on Charles Barkley. That shit was so bad. I'm like,
That's another thing that people don't understand. Not only could he's known for, the two-handed, but he could one leg too.
Yeah.
Either leg too.
yeah.
Either leg. Like it was, and be out till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, smoking, drinking, whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of that comes from the Isaiah Thomas years. See, Isaiah Thomas doesn't get a lot of credit in this whole Michael Jordan buildup because make no mistake about it, he is Jordan's #1 nemesis. Jordan, in the final 2 off seasons before he became champion, had to spend the whole summer regrouping with just the Detroit Pistons in mind, just knowing that he has to get past them in mind. And that's where you hear the stories of him just spending the whole offseason bulking up, adding about 10 to 5 pounds of muscle. A lot of the strength really comes from just knowing that he was going to take a severe beating from the Pistons.
Cracking.
It's going
Playing
down.
cards.
Yes, all this shit.
Games at 7:30.
He'll sit here. Sometimes he'll go play golf the same day he play.
Man, it's almost like he was trying to make it fair.
Let me go get a buzz and some heat strokes so you guys can have a chance tonight.
Man. Didn't have a tail, guys. And you know, you hear it all the time. Who's the GOAT? Who's the greatest? And all that between, you know, him and LeBron. And I try to stay away from that because I went against LeBron his first year. He was a rookie. My last year. So I don't have no point of reference. But I will say LeBron has the greatest career.
I say that all the time.
He has the greatest career.
Right.
But Mike is the best.
Basketball player ever.
But LeBron has the greatest career. And I think why a lot of old heads want to dog out LeBron is because they were never as good as he is this late in their career.
Right.
And also, they didn't have the options that he had. That's the real resentment. They didn't have the options that he had. They didn't have the ability to just up and leave their team. That willingness to just up and leave your team and just take control of your career and collaborate with others is something that some of them perhaps never even thought of. But also, they didn't have the options to even do that. Again, keep in mind, a lot of the older heads, they played in the early 90s, late 80s, and the NBA players all throughout the 80s for, I believe, about 7 years had fought the league to get the privilege of having free agency.
And they want to get on him for that.
Yeah.
LeBron, at 22 years in, at 41, 40, whatever he is, and is about ready to be first or second team All-NBA.
25, 8, and 8.
As old guys, they were never, call them all out.
Some of them wasn't this good in their prime.
That's the
Straight
thing.
up. They was.
Also, the league was much more physical. We got to keep that in mind. The rules are a lot different. The freedom of movement, the spacing on the court, also with a lot more global talent coming in, they took away a lot of the physicality out the game. Those enforcers that we used to see, those guys without any real skill as far as shooting and passing and being able to dribble the ball, they wouldn't really last as long in today's league.
Wasn't.
And for him to be this good, this long,
Incredible.
you got to say he has the greatest career.
By far.
But is he the best? That's greatest and best is two different things. And I think that's why old heads are getting it mixed up. And they don't want to give LeBron his due.
Yep, he deserved it.
It's a great point. Great point by Reggie Miller right here. One of the greatest careers LeBron James definitely does. And they could look at the way he's moving, the way he has his quote unquote entourage, I should say, because I'm going to compare it to the players previously that came before him. They just had crews where they were just going to the club and getting a bunch of thotties. Meanwhile, LeBron's friends are running sports agencies, running a media company. One of them is even collaborating with possibly sovereign money to formulate their own league. Again, Reggie Miller saying LeBron's possibly had the greatest career. Yes, on the court and possibly even off of it.
Deserves that. I mean, we all wish we could be playing like him in year 22.
50,000 points.
In any year, period.
I mean,
Crazy.
he's about ready to be on one of the all-NBA teams.
So it is what it is. I got to say, I agree with Reggie Miller. LeBron James possibly had the greatest career, but Jordan, in a way, is the greatest player. And again, all this is really subjective because at the end of the day, you really can't compare eras. And there's definitely a Mount Rushmore as far as winners in the NBA. And when it comes to LeBron James, we really got to examine, he is the first of his own kind and perhaps is the most inspirational for not only his colleagues in the NBA, but for a lot of people in general on how to move around in life. It is what it is. You guys should definitely check out the link in the description below. I got more NBA stories like this. And until next time, you fellas stay safe. Peace.